Asmongold's situation exemplifies why apologies, especially to an online mob, often result in failure. When caught in the whirlwind of social media outrage, bending the knee and apologizing rarely leads to genuine resolution. In fact, it can embolden critics who interpret the apology as a sign of weakness or an opportunity to escalate their attacks. Asmongold's experience demonstrates that you can't win against those who were never going to be satisfied in the first place. His comments on the Israel-Palestine conflict, one of the most sensitive topics online, drew backlash not just from his loyal fans but from those who typically don't engage with his content and likely had no real investment in him. When he chose to apologize, his critics only intensified their attacks, resulting in his ousting from his own gaming group, OTK. Instead of defusing tensions, the apology seemed to validate the outrage and provide his detractors with more ammunition. This situation highlights a key issue in today's online culture: apologizing often results in giving up power. If you're confident in your viewpoint, own it. Apologies are effective only when directed toward those who genuinely care about you, such as your core audience. If aimed at an anonymous crowd seeking to tear you down, they accomplish little. While it's essential to show remorse if you feel you've wronged your community, trying to placate the outrage machine is ultimately pointless. Additionally, this scenario underscores a double standard in how social media platforms and communities respond to different criticisms. Comments perceived as anti-Israel face intense scrutiny, while anti-Palestinian remarks can provoke a different kind of backlash, depending on the audience. Asmongold found himself on the wrong side of this divide, facing calls for accountability that many felt would not have been levied against others expressing similar sentiments from different perspectives. The inconsistency of these standards creates an environment where creators feel like they're constantly walking on eggshells. Apologizing doesn't level the playing field, it reveals the asymmetry in how various opinions are treated and the pressures content creators face. Asmongold's public apology highlighted the entrenched and unyielding criticisms against him, demonstrating that he wouldn't find understanding from those most upset. Practically, this situation raises the question of whether it's fair, or logical, to expect streamers and influencers to weigh in on complex geopolitical issues. Asmongold's primary focus is gaming and entertainment, yet he was thrust into an expectation to address a global conflict. If he speaks up, he risks being targeted regardless of his stance. There's an irony in this expectation: many Americans are pressured to express concern for international issues, while people in other countries often don't face similar scrutiny regarding American problems. Why is there a double standard where American influencers must deeply engage with every global crisis, while the same expectation isn't reciprocated? So, what can we do in such situations? The answer is simple: refuse to engage in a game you can't win. Had Asmongold stood by his original statements without apology, he might have still faced criticism, but he would have retained control over his narrative. The online space is brutal and unforgiving. Once you show a willingness to cave, critics sense an opportunity. Asmongold's apology didn't foster meaningful reconciliation or understanding, it merely validated a cycle of criticism from those who were never going to support him. Standing firm under public pressure isn't easy. It requires immense resilience and the acceptance that not everyone will appreciate your perspective. However, if you remain true to your principles and stand by your beliefs, you owe no one an apology, especially not to those who lack a genuine investment in your well. Standing firm under public pressure isn't easy. It requires immense resilience and the acceptance that not everyone will appreciate your perspective. However, if you remain true to your principles and stand by your beliefs, you owe no one an apology, especially not to those who lack a genuine investment in your work. True integrity comes from knowing where you stand, not from bending to the whims of a shifting crowd. Ultimately, Asmongold's situation is a lesson in the futility of trying to appease a group that thrives on outrage. Apologizing to those without a vested interest in your well-being undermines your position. True power lies in standing firm, recognizing that the noise will pass, and focusing on those who genuinely care about your work. In a world where outrage often overshadows understanding, it's better to hold your ground than to apologize to those who were never on your side to begin with.